lose. I can't do anything. The court system won't talk to me. The sheriff's department, who's the process server, won't talk to me. The collection agency won't talk to me. I called legal aid. I called everybody. I called lawyers. I called, and they're all like, you know what, it's already done. There's already a judgment against you. There's nothing you can do. I'm like, how can there be nothing I can do? I did not get my day in court for something I didn't even do. It's so completely, totally wrong.
I'm dumbfounded. I'm just like, I can't. You know, and this is one of the situations people just don't think that they can happen. And then they think, okay, when you're in the process of it, you think, okay, I'm handling it. I'm dealing with it. I hired a lawyer. The lawyer's going to take care of it. And then come to find out, the lawyer wasn't doing anything besides sitting on his hands.
No. Never charged me anything. But still,
you're putting your faith and trust in someone that says, hey, I'm looking into it for you. You're trusting that they are, and that's why you're not doing anything, because you're saying, okay, well, you said you would. You're a lawyer. You should be doing it.
Mm-hmm. And every time I tried to do something, it ended up not being the right thing, and it ended up getting worse. So now there is a judgment on my credit report.
Which means what?
Well, it's the first line of my credit report that basically says, you have this unpaid debt for $5,000. No one loaned this person anything. That's basically what it says. I mean...
Gives you bad credit.
Right. On your credit report, you know, everything's listed there.
Mm-hmm.
But all the good stuff's at the bottom. All the bad stuff's at the top.
All the good stuff's at the bottom, at the very
So everything you paid
writing
on time, everything that you know, you had a car loan, you paid it off, you know, all that stuff's at the bottom. The really bad stuff, the active judgments, the things that are unpaid debts, those are all at the top, and that's the first thing anybody looks at when they pull your credit report. If you go look to get a credit card, to rent a car,
anything.
Cell phone, they pull your credit.
They
Apartments.
For a cell phone?
Yeah, they pull your credit because you can run up horrendous cell phone bills, you know, if you're not responsible and paying attention. But everyone now pulls your credit report. If you applied for a job at the TSA, which are the security people at the airport, you can get turned down if you have bad credit because they think you're a security risk. You'll take a bribe. This kind of thing.
Yeah.
So bad credit is really...
And it follows you everywhere.
It's a really big problem. And the thing that's so frustrating about it is something like this, which is an unfair debt, gets put on my credit report, and there's nothing I can do about it other than pay it.
Well, that brings up a good point, Kimmy. Whenever I heard your story, I thought, man, that's really bad. I mean, that this kind of stuff really happens to people, and I just want to share a little something. After I had heard your story, I actually had a little incident of my own. I went out trying to get something through school, and my school said, no, you know, you have to get a cosigner. And I said, I just got it last year. What do you mean I need a cosigner? They said, someone put something on your credit report. And I said, that's impossible. I pride myself in having good credit. I make sure everything's paid the minute I get it in. And they said, well, you know, this is who you need to take it up with, blah, blah. So I did that, and there were these two things at the very beginning saying that I'd been sent to a collection agency. And the school had said, well, you were just, you know, it just got on your credit report this year. Called the collection agency, and they said, no, it's been on since '99. And I said, how is that possible? It's been 5 years. I've never received one thing saying that I owe anybody anything. I've never received a call, a letter, nothing. And they said, well, it's on there. And I said, and they said, the only way to get it off is if you pay it now. Yeah. And so I was really upset. I was frustrated. And I just thought, how can this be happening to me? I mean, I haven't done anything. And 5 years ago, you would think you'd receive something, and I didn't. And then they started saying, well, we sent something to this address. I can't help it if you didn't get it. I'm like, I didn't get it. You know, I haven't lived at that address in 3 years. And so it's those kind of things that are just frustrating, and you think, well, that really can't happen to me. And we're both proof that, unfortunately, it can happen.
It happens all the time. I think people can put stuff on there that's not even true, and what are you going to do? Because it's impossible to prove a negative.
And that's a good point.
You can't prove that you did not get something in the mail.
And that's what I told the guy. I said, I can't prove that I didn't get it. How am I going to prove that I didn't get it? And he's like, well, we don't know you, and we don't want to know you. And I thought, you don't need to be mean to me. I just want to understand where you're coming from so this does not happen to me again, because I thought, fine, if I have to pay it, I have to pay it. But I need to take measures to make sure that something like this doesn't happen. So I was just trying to understand from their viewpoint so I wouldn't get stuck paying this money again, paying $150 in interest for something I didn't even know I owed.
Right.
Because I told him, I said, $300, that's not going to break me. You know, that doesn't break very many people if I'm going to owe $150 more at the end.
Well, and especially if you've got a great credit report and you've got this one thing for $300, people might go, that's a little weird. She's paid everything else on time. Isn't that a little strange?
Yeah.
But no, there's no logic involved. In fact, I actually called, I can't remember who it was, but I called somebody with the courthouse and I said, sir, I said, doesn't common sense dictate? He goes, ma'am, common sense has nothing to do with filling out reports for the court. I don't think he even realized what he said. It was like the funniest thing. Common sense has nothing to do with filling out reports for the court. There's no logic.
Thanks. That makes
no
great
common sense. Just a tremendous amount of frustration because these large agencies prey on you. They have all the power. You have no rights, no standing, and you drive yourself crazy trying to get it off your credit report. You're a little more logical than me. You just said, look, I'll just pay it. I just dug my heels in and said, there's no way I owe this money. I paid my insurance premiums. I paid my co-pays.
Right.
I'm not paying this money.
Okay,
I had a lawyer.
but $500 versus $5,000.
Yeah.
If it was $5,000, I'd be like, I don't have $5,000. Sorry.
Right. Well, I don't have it anyway, and that's.
But it's the point
The
more than
point
anything.
is, I am not gonna work an extra job to pay off a bill that I think is an unfair debt that I don't owe.
Right.
So I'm trying to, at this point, now that they have a judgment against me, I have no power. They won't negotiate with me. They won't take 50 cents on the dollar. They won't make any of their deals that they do. If you pay it today, I'll take it off your reports like it never existed.
That's an important thing that people need to know, that I said, okay, well, I'll just pay it because I was just scared it was going to be on my credit report and it was just going to be like a big snowball effect. And the guy said, well, the only way I'll take it off your credit report like it never existed is if you pay in full. And I said, fine, I'll pay it. Although I had no idea what I was paying for, which was actually very stupid. I don't recommend that. But I said, I need receipts. I need to know exactly what I'm paying for. I don't just want to be paying for it. And then I called back and said, well, I don't want to pay the insurance because I'm not at fault. I didn't receive anything. He said, too bad. You've already paid for it. But the thing is if you are willing to pay for it, negotiate and try and say, okay, well, I don't have that kind of money, but can I pay half and it'll be off? And everybody recommended that to me, of course, after I'd already paid it in full.
Yeah.
They said they negotiate, try and get them to negotiate. So
yeah, let me pay the actual debt, not all your stupid fees and charges and inflated things that you put on and such. But the other thing to know with that is they don't have to take it off your report. The whole thing that people know that's bad stuff or stuff stays on your credit report for 7 years, a bankruptcy for 10. But it stays on your credit report for 7 years since the last activity, not 7 years since they put it on there. If you found out about it 4 years later and paid half of it, 7 years resets. So
Really?
if you'd waited 3 more years, it would have disappeared on its own, but now that you paid it, you get another 7 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's like the worst thing. It's like this awful...
But that's with what?
With anything. If
With
you make
any
a
kind of
partial
debt?
payment on any kind of
So
debt...
I could have let that one just ride for 2 more years and it would have gone off
Yeah.
because it had already been 5. Dang it, I wish I would have
And they
known
don't
that.
automatically take it off. You have to check your credit report and you have to call them and say, this has been on here over 7 years, you need to take it off. Because they don't.